Hi, welcome to the 5th edition of A Million Stories. We're in a park at the moment because this park has a lot of significance to Richard, Rikard, sorry, now I'm saying it in the English way, Rikard, whose business we're going to talk about and find out more about Rikard. So to begin with, I'd like to welcome Rikard.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us on the show. I have to get my focus now because I'm surrounded by all these dogs and little Maya here, your little special jewel. And I think that's what's so important with you when I met you is that you have very high values when it comes to family. Which is something I picked up in a few of our discussions because I had my little babe. But let's start off by talking about your company, which is called the Scandinavian Embassy. Tell us about the Scandinavian Embassy because you're not from Holland. So let's start by going from the beginning of how you came to Holland and how that led to the Scandinavian Embassy, which is a very specialized, beautiful coffee cafe. I won't say coffee shop because we're in Amsterdam, but so Rikard.
Well, it is a long story, as you know. You've been told fragments of it before. Well, I came to Holland as a banker back in 2007, and I never thought about opening anything like this back then. During my legal career, I thought that was what I was going to do with my life. But going forward with the bank being sold, everyone fired, I started seeing things that it was a working environment that I didn't want to be there, and I was Java, ska du vara tyst? It was a working environment that I really didn't want to have my whole life like that. And also seeing when we started discussing having kids, it felt horrible because my girlfriend, she's working in the financial business as well, and she couldn't really tell me, so I understood what she was doing, and I couldn't really tell her exactly what I was doing. Even though we were working in the same field, we couldn't tell each other what we were doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I grew up on a farm. I know my dad. He was a teacher, and my mom, she was a district nurse.
Okay.
So it was quite easy to know what they were doing, and when they were leaving, I knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah.
I knew where they were going and what they were doing. And that's when I started to think about what I wanted my kids' life to be.
And so this questioning started when you were talking about kids. That's when you really started to question what it was that you were both doing.
Yeah, I would say so. I would really say so, because before that it wasn't a question for me at all. It was not until I understood that I would be the father of a family. Whatever that would mean in my case, I still I couldn't figure out how to tell my kids what I was doing at the moment, and I couldn't really see me doing anything that I could talk about. And also the security. I mean, we had the farm where I came home to, where my parents also worked, and it was they were there quite a lot of the time. And I would like to. I mean, back then I would like to have the same for this one, even though I didn't know her yet. I would like for her to know what I was doing, where I was going, and why. So
just for clarification, so what exactly were you doing in the banking world?
Well, I was working with sustainability, responsible investments, Java, mostly from a legal point of view, but and also doing consultants on the same issue. So literally, I mean, sustainability in a broader sense, and then responsible investments, somewhat to a little more niche. That's what I was doing.
Okay.
Which
even when you say it, I mean, again, it sounds so fluffy in a way.
Yeah. And it was, and it still is. I still have colleagues who are working with it who are, I mean, it's hard to kind of get your head around it. What actually is going on and what's the outcome. You can see a lot of things being good, but then in the broadest picture, it's very small things and a big problem.
Yeah. So okay, let's talk about that now. So you fast forward. You were trying to decide now. Okay, what is it that is really important to you? And you established that having the transparency of what you were doing was important to you, and almost, I think what I'm hearing is you were wanting to also come closer to something that was real for you that you could get your hands on.
Yes. Yeah. No. Absolutely. And I mean, that's when I did the transaction into I became a cook at the restaurant downtown, and I mean, they were supposed to be the best, and they were the best for a long time. They were still doing things that weren't. I mean, they couldn't stand up for it. We had a couple of guests coming into the restaurants a couple of times a week, and we had to make them a special menu because we were serving them too much fat, sugar and salt. So the head chef actually knew that we were slowly killing our customers, and I mean, that's not a really good business case now, is it? And that has been a problem for me for a long time, because I was working in the restaurant business as a student as well, not as I am now, but I was seeing all these prefab things and what they contain, and I mean, I started knowing what the big business was doing when I was in the bank and how they were looking at it as well. And I wanted to get it away from that and do something that was properly down to earth healthy. I mean, I can explain why it's healthy, each and everything that I'm serving, because I need to know. If I don't know, then I don't want to serve it.
Yeah. So in short, you went from the banking industry and you started cooking. You went to do. So did you do a chef study?
No, I never did that. Instead, I was sitting in this restaurant where I eventually ended up working, and I knew that you learn more as a cook working than you could learn in a schoolroom. I think. I mean, I've been seeing great cooks doing cooking school and going on from there, and I've never seen the development as large as when they actually start doing what they're supposed to do. And I felt the same very much with my legal studies as well, that you get a really good base for going forward, but half of that base is never going to be used in your business life. And when I was looking at what chef schools were doing, it's very much focused on large scale production, and that was not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So instead I got into Christoph, this restaurant in downtown, and started peeling garlic. That's where I started, and then kind of trying to learn as much as possible from the guys there. They were really, really good at what they were doing, but they also had this stigmatized. I mean, they were coming from the chef's side. You want to produce as much as possible for as little means as possible, and that's unfortunately kind of what was breaking the business, I think.
Okay.
Instead of focusing on what you can do, what you can do good, you're focusing on what you can do that ends up. I mean, you start with the economical means, and that's never going to end up being a great business case. It's when you find these little things that actually do work, and that comes down to trial and error.
So what you're saying is, because they're focusing on the bottom line and squeezing out the last penny, it loses the love. It loses what it should be about, because they're looking at the commercial side of it rather than the passionate, the love side of it.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, of course they had passion and love, but yeah, I think you're I mean, and it's not just the economical aspects directly, but also the hierarchy in the kitchen where you got one person who's the king of the kitchen. It's I'm really sorry for this. She's not
Oh,
normal.
it's okay. It's okay.
um, it ends up being an environment where not everybody can bloom. I mean, you can't get everything out of the people working. And you're literally the kitchen is set up to make machines. You're
Yeah.
supposed to be doing the same thing over and over. And
So what do you think it should be doing?
I really think, I mean, I can't talk for anything else but myself. I don't know if my colleagues actually think that I'm implementing this properly, but I think it's a whole lot better if you start with the person, and I mean the ability of the person, and the wants and needs of the person. I mean, in my case, it was that I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and so the kitchen is set up for me. Everyone is coming in after me. They of course have to kind of adjust, but I feel like we're adjusting for every person that is coming in, and I think that is really important for us to actually be able to do anything good.
So, okay, you're talking about your kitchen, and you are creating your kitchen around what you believe is important, and that is about serving food that's pure and good, and every bit of food that's on the plate you can explain, and you can also tap into your clients, into their needs, what they're wanting. So it's very almost boutique style serving that you're doing.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, we have Maya sitting on your lap, and we have your dog who's enjoying the park. This is important to you, and we're sitting on the park where your cafe is just on the corner here. So tell us about family life and work life, and how you bring these two together.
Well, I guess it's not about bringing them together. It's rather, I mean, they are so intertwined. I'm literally serving the porridge I'm serving at the embassy for her in the morning. That's why I'm serving it at the embassy. I've tried it, and I mean, I think that's what I set out to do in the first place. I wanted to create something that was good for my family. I mean, if it's good for my family, it should be good for others as well. Yeah, she's sounding very much. And I mean, for Java, the little barking bitch, she actually is a bitch, so I'm allowed to say that.
Okay. I won't put an X rate on the on the video.
No, but she was the one showing me the place. It was a vacant place, and we were in the park every day. And when she was a puppy, I didn't want her to kind of go straight home if she lost me. So I was walking out different entrances, and I walked out the entrance in the far end, and there was the vacant lot, a dead piece of Amsterdam. I mean, it literally looked like a dead piece of Amsterdam.
Yeah.
It was completely empty. It had been empty for 5 years, and the owner of the place, she didn't even know that it wasn't being paid for. So that's where it started, and especially this concept that I started, because during that time, that's when me and Nicola started to talk about, I mean, merging coffee and food together. And
Nicola is your partner.
Very much my partner. He's my business partner, and I mean, in the sense, he's my life partner as well. He's been along the ride with the whole family. I mean, he's taking care of Java, and sometimes he's taking care of Maya as well, for that matter. And he's definitely taking care of the embassy. I mean, I see it as my family. He's taking care of my family, and therefore he's my family. So I would say he's way more than a partner. So it was me, Nicolas, and Dominica, my girlfriend and fiancée, hopefully going to be my wife sometime in the future when we have time for that. It was us three starting with the three expertise, or with the myriad of expertise that we have. We're very different people from each other, and I think that was also a strength, because that's how it looks in a family. I mean, you never see a family that is just good at one thing. It's always, people are always good at different things within the family, and then I think that's also something that we saw, and we saw how we could work together, and especially with the odd sides of each other. I think just like a family. I mean, even though you are that different and you think different, you believe differently, which becomes really apparent in a family. I mean, we saw that immediately, and we could rather see the good things that we could do together.
So you basically, so you have your partner, and then obviously your wife, future wife, sorry. And what you do is she's involved as well, your wife, although I know she has a high power job also in the financial industry, but she's involved. So you taking from your partner's strengths, you're taking from your wife's strengths and your strengths, and together you have the Scandinavian Embassy. So what are your strengths?
Yeah, well, I got the family together. Maybe that's my my strength.
Bringing people together, well, that's a very important strength. And tell me, how does Maya fit in with this? Because you want her with you. So, and that's beautiful that you can create your own business, and you have your daughter, like you say, who you were able to come home, and you came back to the farm, and it was transparent what your family were doing. And she can come into the shop, and it's very transparent what Daddy's doing. How does that work in reality? Because, of course, babies do need a lot of attention.
Yes, they do. They really, really do. Well, I mean, I'm working in the weekends, and my girlfriend, she's off in the weekends. So 4 days. I mean, and then I'm taking 2 days off of there now as a kind of daddy leave. We don't get very much of that in Holland. So I kind of started my own daddy leave by starting my own business. No, that was just a joke. No, but
What was a joke?
That I started my own daddy leave.
Well, you did. No, that's not a joke. That is real.
Yeah, no, but and it was necessary. It was the only way around it. I mean, if I would still be in the financial business, then we would need her in kindergarten 5 days a week, and I really don't think that as she is nine months, she needs more than that. She, especially her parents or at least family. And I mean, now I created a quite big family, so there's always someone who can help me when things needs to be done and when the schedule is not working properly. Yeah.
And so Scandinavian Embassy, let's talk about what the actual business does for people who maybe haven't come to Amsterdam yet to come and enjoy your coffee, because it's amazing, as well as your, I don't know what it's called, but your egg breakfast is also amazing. How did you come up with the name Scandinavian Embassy, and why specifically all these very intricate coffees? I mean, it's not just a restaurant, it's very specific.
Well, the coffees, they come from... Java, nu är det bra. Gå och lägg dig. The coffees are all from Scandinavia. That was... Yeah, it kind of works with the name, doesn't it?
Okay.
And also, I mean, there is the third wave coffee is quite strong in Scandinavia. It has been.
The what? Sorry?
Third wave coffee. So we can talk. Normally, you're talking about the first wave coffee, which is just, I mean, coffee starting being drunk, and the second wave is the Starbucks way, that you start to do something more, and the third wave is this should really be Nicolas answering your question, but. I mean, getting down to coffees and seeing, I mean, there's a lot of fair trade coffees, but fair trade coffee is not only good, there are complications with it as well. Third wave comes closer to the farmer, so you actually connect the barista with the farmer, with the roaster in between, and those are the three important steps. It's not the middlemen that are sitting, selling and trading coffee. But this also gives a higher ground for quality. Because if the barista can actually know a little more about the farmer, and the farmer can know more about what the barista is doing with the roaster in between, then you can actually go for the coffees that actually do work. And also, more of the money is actually when you have direct trade, so direct trade between the roasters and the...
Now you're starting to sound like a banker. To someone who doesn't understand first, second and third wave coffees. I think we're going to have to go and have a look at what you're doing, because then the action will speak for itself. Yes. On that note, let's close off there and let's hit your little Scandinavian Embassy cafe and go and put it into practice. I really want to thank you for taking the time to join us on this journey, because it's so nice to speak to someone who has created their own path, and you took the choice, you made it your decision to do that. And it's so, I think, so inspiring to see a man who has so much contact and interaction with his child. And so I want to say thank you for letting us share this with you.
No worries. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, cool. All right, let's move.
Okay, goodbye.
Thanks for that experience. That was awesome. That egg dish looks beautiful.
Thank you.
So, on closing, because you mentioned very casually that you made those glasses that I was drinking from. For other people who are wanting to start their company or have a dream to create their own path, based on your experience, what advice would you give them?
Go ahead and do it and stick to it. I mean, make sure that you've thought it through well enough to actually be able to live and I mean, it's your dream, and you have to live and dream your dream. It's with you at all time. It is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I mean, for a couple of years before you. Now we're 2 years into it, and I mean, we're starting to be able to take a little time off. But even when you take time off, it's there. You have to love something a lot, and of course you grow into love as well. So I think it's just about going ahead and sticking to your thought, sticking to what you do. That's what you have to do.
Well, thank you so much. It's been great chatting with you, and we're definitely going to come back and have one of your coffees and one of your egg dish. What is the egg dish called?
I haven't got a name for it. It's just a poached egg and salmon.
A boutique poached egg and salmon. Cool. Well, I think now's the time to end off, because everyone's walking past the camera. They can't see that we have a camera here clearly. Anyway, cool. We'll end there. Yeah.